Hello, hello, good people. My name is Janee Brown, and I am the founder and senior publisher of Open Book Publishing. And today is another episode of our video blog, Pen and Paper. And as you know, we love interviewing our favorite authors. And so here we are with Miss Aliette St.Hilaire. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Janee. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Happy Friday.
Oh, yes. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So for everyone who doesn't know, let me give you a proper introduction. So Dr.Aliette St.Hilaire is licensed as an advanced practice nurse in the state of Florida and holds a board certification as a certified registered nurse anesthesiologist at St. Mary's Medical Center. She received her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing at Florida International University, Master's in Science specializing in anesthesiology from Baylor University, and a Doctor of Nursing in Anesthesiology practice from Baylor University, where her capstone project focused on confronting occupational stress through wellness in the human spirit. She started her career as a registered nurse at Memorial Hospital West. Later, she worked at Jackson Memorial Hospital and Broward General Hospital. Aliette is an independent certified coach, teacher, trainer, and speaker with the John Maxwell team. She also mentors students ranging from high school, nursing school, and anesthesiology school. Aliette has a passion for occupational wellness, marriage, family building, and creating opportunities for children to reach their full potential. As you can see, she has so many things under her belt that I'm tongue-tied every time I read this bio. You're so well accomplished, and you are a beacon and a role model for so many women. And so tell us now, you are also, on top of all of those things, a published author. Congratulations.
Thank you, Janee.
You're very welcome. And so your first book ever, is called Who Could Imagine? So tell us about your book and what could readers expect?
Oh my goodness. So the book was inspired throughout the years. I've heard many people come up to myself or my husband saying, you need to write a book. You need to tell your story. That's what inspired, writing the book. The book is literally about overcoming the odds, overcoming the obstacles, standing back up when you've been knocked down.
Yeah, for sure. And so, Aliette, you are a mother, you are a mentor, you have several degrees, you have journeyed through life, you are coming up on your 35th wedding anniversary. Why was now the time, like now that we're in this social climate, this political climate, what was so significant now for us to write the book?
So, first of all, time. Busy raising a family, building a marriage and everything, time was not available to write the book.
Sure.
We're empty nesters now. We officially are empty nesters now.
Congratulations.
And so during the pandemic, really opened the door, especially during the lockdown period. Just seeing the substance abuse and the suicide rate rising, and depression and anxiety rising amongst, so many individuals, that really just drove it into my spirit that, this is the time to write the book. I had the time during the pandemic. Everything was closed. So I said, okay, I'll write the book now.
For sure. And to your point, it's necessary. Like I acknowledge and totally respect you waited for a time that was good for you, but it's necessary now because everyone's sitting at home in during the pandemic, and their minds are racing and everything seems like doomsday. Like I don't think as a country we've experienced anything like that in forever, at least in our lifetime, right? And so the overall message of your book with Who Could Imagine, letting people know that we started here, but who could imagine we can get to this whole other space, is such a necessary message and a very relevant one, keeping everything that has happened during the pandemic in mind.
Exactly, exactly. We have people who's had, to start over, lost loved ones. I lost my dad during the pandemic. Job changes, all sorts of changes that we have, come to, just have been surfaced up that we have not had to face, and so you find yourself in a position where you're trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? And so the book, as its title, Who Could Have Imagined, Change Your Perspective, Transform Your Destiny, it starts with us changing our perspective, looking at where you're at, because where you're at right now, it doesn't necessarily mean once you change your perspective that you cannot transform where you're going 5, 10 years from now.
Absolutely. I hope you guys are taking notes because she's already dropping jewels as only she can, as only you can. And so you brought up a very good point that I think is a great segue, which is perception and perspective, right? And so when we digest your book, as the readers will soon, your book has a lot of layers, right? When there's a lot of intersectionality about culture and religion and social influences and gender and classism, and how all these things kind of govern how you were raised and how you were brought up, and they influence all of your who could have imagined moments. And so with all of that, with all those influences, how did you create a perspective about yourself? How did you stay true to yourself to where you can stand here now as the confident woman in spite of the opinions of all of those various groups and factors?
Oh my goodness, that's such a great question, Janee, because, society tries to put us in a box. People try to put us in the box. You mentioned culture, you mentioned religion, you mentioned social economical, and so growing up as a young, Black Bahamian girl, Haitian Bahamian, that's already, a box, being poor, raised up in poverty, and then, my parents being divorced, that's already a box, then, you put in me being pregnant at a young age, getting married at a young age. And so it's like your life is supposed to be over. You're not supposed to do anything from there. You're supposed to just lay flat and just let life pass you by, And so what I gathered along the years is you have to be true to yourself. And obviously what helped me a lot to just hone in on that is my relationship with God. Just really knowing who I am, who God sees me to be, and, shutting out the naysayers, whatever it is a person may, a box that they may try to put me in, that's not who I see myself in. So I'm not in that box.
That's right.
That's right. So that's how Allie became to be who she is today. I could be wherever it is that I am. So, so can you, no matter where you're at in life, you create, where you're going. What you say to yourself determines where you're heading. Someone may say whatever, X, Y, and Z. If you don't believe that to be true, it's not going to be so.
1,000%. And you brought up a very good point about how you have defined who you are, right? And so talk about how in becoming who you are and being flat-footed, non-negotiable, this is Allie, right? How are you now able to be that person for women, right? Because you are a mentor, you're an advocate, and then in multiple spaces, right? In healthcare, in education, socially, in community. What has sparked you to be such a strong advocate for women?
So growing up, I had to kind of search outside of my environment to seek for role models, and to seek for that light and direction. And I'm sure there are so many who are in the same space. And so coming up and seeing that it has created within me to want to establish that space, and to show others that if I can do it, so can you, and not stay in the box that people try to put us in.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's so necessary, specifically for women and specifically for women of color, right? Because very much like you said, it was one thing to be poor, it was one thing to have divorced parents, but you're a Haitian, Bahamian, you're a woman of color. It's very limiting for us. So it's always so warm to my heart when there are other women who are saying, like, I'm not gonna let the ladies behind me have to go through all of that on their own. So that advocacy for women is so necessary.
Yes, it is very necessary. Who knows a woman like a woman, right?
Mm.
The experiences that we've had to endure, and just I can name it from, I mean, we experience, there's so much bias,
Mm.
so much, it implicit and, explicit. And so it's just like, just being able to, I call it kind of just pushing through,
Mm.
those boundaries, pushing through those boundaries, and it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy, but if Sarah can go, then I can work hard and be in that space as well, and so just that's the reason why I mentor. I love to share, to encourage, to inspire, because I feel like if a little girl from where I've come from can be where I am today, I want for other little girls and boys, because I have boys, I'm a mom
Yeah.
of boys,
Yeah.
and so I want them to know that just because society says one thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's your narrative. You can
Mhm.
change it.
For sure, for sure. And you, like you mentioned, you are a boy mom. She doesn't look like it, y'all, okay? But this ma'am here has 3 boys. Where are they? How did they come from her? Because she doesn't look a day over 25, right? She doesn't look a day over 25, but you have all of your children. You have 3 children, they're all boys, right? But at the same time, you have been a beacon of light and an advocate and a mentor for young girls. So how does that play? Like, is there ever instances where being a mentor for girls help you give your sons advice or help raise them, or your conversations with your son when you pick them up from practice influences how you mentor girls? Like, how does that work?
My boys love me, and I love my boys as well. Being a boy mom has opened up my eyes to how sensitive men are. The fact that they really want to be their best. If you believe in them, they can soar high. I feel like, especially Black men, they get beat down so much. And again, that's just me, I don't do that with my sons. My expectation with them is that they can be whoever they want to be and reach as far as they can go, because they can. God is with them. And that's one of our favorite scriptures. My favorite scriptures that I share with them is, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And so just really being able to see, the heart of young men, to see the heart of a man, and to see, wow, there are emotions there. There are, goals there. There are dreams there. They have the same concerns as women do. It's just, yeah, they're not some kind of, species out there that's just, no, just because they're men, yes, they're, shaped differently and they're structured differently, but inside the core, it's the same, concerns,
Yeah.
it's the same concerns.
I love that because I'm a millennial, right? And so there's always this, I'm sure they didn't have this back in your time because things were simple, as what, my mother says. But there's, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. There's always all of this battle of the sexes foolishness, right? Where ultimately me listening to you, what I gather is we're human, like I'm a woman, he's a man, but fundamentally we are one, right? We are human, and it's so important for people to look at each other as human first, instead of this division.
Right, right. And that's, one of the core scriptures that my husband and I really look to in our marriage, is 1 Corinthians 13, that talks about love being patient. It's not self-seeking. It's not proud. It's kind. When you go down, and even with my doctoral project, doing research on the human spirit. At the end of the day, we're all human, and we want the same things. We may look at things differently, just like a man, may, you, like, for instance, you may see something. Let me give an example. Like a guy, will look at you, say that you don't have anything to wear, okay? And a woman will say, I have nothing to wear. And a guy will say, I have nothing to wear. He literally means he has nothing to wear. But we have loads of clothes in the closet, but we're saying we don't have something new to wear, something different that we would like to wear for the occasion. And so we're wired, differently in that way. But the heart of the human spirit, the need for respect, the need for love, the need to know someone genuinely cares for me, is not going to take advantage of me, is there for all of us, whether we're men or women.
Absolutely. It's the human spirit, like what you're saying and what you covered in your capstone. And I think your perspective, going back to that word, is why your book is really touching so many lives. And in spite of you being a boy mom, or in spite of you being an advocate for women, all people are gravitating toward the books. Like if you read the reviews on Amazon, there's a combination of genders who are receiving the message from your book, and that alone is impactful.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because everyone's looking for hope. We all gravitate to hope, to inspiration. If someone tells you you're going to reach for the stars, that you can do it, you're going to gravitate to them so much more than someone who's trying to tell you, no, you're never going to be anything. You're not going to go anywhere. You might as well just give up now, So that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And so let's talk to aspiring authors for a moment, right? Because for you to write this book, you had to become vulnerable. So to an author who wants to use their story to help someone else, what is your advice to them?
Even if you help one person, you have done the work.
Yeah.
It was very scary for me. It was, nerve wracking, despite the fact that on paper I'm very established, well accomplished and everything. And lots of people have told me I need to share my story. Being vulnerable with the world, it's never easy. It's it's a difficult process. But I just got to the point where I felt like this is a calling that God had for me. And even if one person's life was transformed, and inspired, like, wow, if she can overcome all the things that she's overcome, then I can definitely do so. So even if you just touch one person, your message is valid.
Your message is valid. I love that. And so let's talk lastly about your final words to your readers. What a beacon of hope and inspiration. We're out of the pandemic-ish, right? Things aren't as bad as they were when we locked down, right? We can travel or go to work and things of that sort. But there's a lot of people who are still in need of hope, that there, who could imagine moment is still coming, right? Because the pandemic brought on its own issues beyond what you had already had before the pandemic had started. So what is your final, not your final words, but what is your hope of inspiration for our listeners, folks who grab your book in whatever season of life, whatever gender, whatever culture? What is your word of encouragement for those individuals?
Oh man. To just sum it up, that we are definitely living in a different world, a different time. And, social media has gravitated quite a bit. We're doing things very differently than, what we were accustomed to. Um, but I want to encourage, that it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey, that you just take one step at a time, even if you don't see how it's going to be. You continue to imagine. I remember when I was told that I was going to be a high school dropout on welfare and all the other negatives I said to myself, that's not going to be me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how it was going to turn out, how I was going to get there. But in my heart, I said that was not going to be me. And so when you have that paradigm shift and you make that determination that, you know what, this is where I'm at, but I'd like to be someplace differently. I'm going here, just one step at a time towards your goal, and you will get there.
Just one step at a time. We needed that one. We needed that one. Thank you.
One
Thank
step
you.
at a time.
Yeah. I felt that one because it's daunting. It's very daunting, and you're trying to do everything at one time, but just one step at a time. One step at a time. And you were the person who they told you was going to be a high school dropout, and now Miss Thang Honey is a whole doctor. Okay. So yeah, it's possible for us all. And I thank you so much for your vulnerability, because I can only imagine how frightening that was to put yourself out there, but it touched so many lives just for us to have representation of hope, right? From a real person, right? Not someone on a Bravo show, but a real down home person who has a husband and children and sit in traffic and go to church on Sunday, just like me, And so Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for gifting the world with your gift. We all thank you for that.
Thank you, Janee. It's definitely a privilege and honor to, be on this interview with you. I really appreciate it. We have to live intentionally. Yeah. We've got to be strategic, in the decisions we make, the steps we take, and, just be narrow focused, and just like kind of close your eyes to the distractions. To get to where it is that we're trying to go. You'll get there.
We'll get there. And one step at a time, you'll get to your who could imagine moment.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Aliette, tell us, where can we keep in contact with you? Tell us your social handles. Tell us where we can buy your book, all the good things, so that the listeners can stay in touch.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have an Instagram. I could not tell you the complete address. I'm still getting abreast of all of this. But I'm on Instagram. If you just Google Dr.Aliette St.Hilaire, all of it will come up. I have a website, AlietteSt.Hilaire.com. The book is available on Amazon. So, just going on the website, you'll see all the social handles and everything where you can keep in contact with it.
And then your book is available in paperback and audiobook, yes?
Yes, ebook, paperback, and audio, correct.
Perfect. So you have something for people who like to hold the book and people who like to listen to the book. You always got us covered, Doc.
That's right. Got you covered.
You always got us covered. Well, again, thank you so very much for your time. Thank you for sharing your story. And all of you guys, head over to her website and or to Amazon and purchase your copy of Who Could Have Imagined.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, good people. Well, thank you for tuning in for this second second episode of the Pen and Paper blog. Be sure to follow Open Book Publishing at OB_publishing on Instagram and Open Book Publishing on all things. If you would like to connect to us on our website, please visit www.obpublishing.com. And until next time, we'll see you with another one of our favorite authors. Be well, everyone.